the truth is you can be making a ton of money, but the truth is how much of it are you actually keeping? Well, hey there, friend. Welcome back to episode 4 of She's Equipped. I'm Jennifer Allwood. I'm glad you're here. Next week, we move into our regular Tuesday, Thursday podcasting schedule. This is just a special week since this is the beginning of the new podcast, She's Equipped. The shift that I have made from my old podcast into this new one, I think it really reflects a shift that many of you are in. You are no longer just starting in business. You're no longer just, still trying to figure out what you're going to do. You already have a business. You already have clients that you're serving. You already have offers that you're making. You're already, making a profit. And the truth is you're probably really ready to move from, kind of barely making it to really scaling, or, just being able to make ends meet to really like having extra every month. And, the days of simply making enough to get by, those have to give way to really putting a plan in place for substantial, sustainable growth. I want to chat with you just about having like a new relationship with money at a new level. So I talked on episode 2 about like making a case for raising your rates. And I talked about how there's such a mindset shift that has to happen in order for a woman to be able to raise her rates. And you have to be able to both like raise your rates and scale both. Yes, raising your rates is one of the things that will help you to scale, but like that scaling, it really requires like a totally different relationship around money, especially if you're someone who has been raised struggling, especially if you're someone who doesn't have a healthy relationship with money, especially if you're someone who maybe was taught really bad biblical theology in, church or from respected people, church people or otherwise, just concerning money, the love of money, what the Bible says, et cetera. Like if you were not taught correct theology, your entire relationship with money is going to have to change in order for you to even be able to scale. Okay. Because, that scaling, like I said, it requires a new relationship with money. And that's from both like a tangible, practical perspective and also just how you feel about money in and of itself. Okay. So I want to talk mostly on this podcast about the practical parts of it because this is a part of my business that I tended to just ignore for a long, long time. And I think there have been seasons where, Jason was doing really, really well at his corporate job. And so it's like anything that I was making at my decorative painting company was just kind of above and beyond. And then, we got used to then the income and the revenue that the painting company was making. And so then when I started coaching, it was like, well, that was money then that just went for, us buying a new house. It went for, family vacations. And so I wasn't really tracking a lot of things because, it was like we kept getting to a place where we're like, okay, we're doing great. And so then it was like, well, anything I'm making, at my painting company, and then eventually it was coaching to become a painter. It's just kind of like, the whipped cream on top. And so I didn't need to track it is kind of what is the story that I was telling myself, which by the way is never accurate. But, I think that there's a lot of women who don't look at their numbers in their business for a whole lot of emotional reasons. And I want to talk about that. Because you have to be tracking two main things. You have to be tracking a revenue and you have to be tracking expenses. But the third thing that nobody really talks about a whole lot is, and I think the most important thing to be tracking is your profit margin. What is left every month, not every year, but every month after you pay your expenses? Okay. Because you've got to know what that is, what you're actually profiting off of your business. And then of course you do need to like work on building up your cash reserves so that you can set things aside for opportunities and software and coaching and slow seasons, et cetera. Okay. But again, I did not track anything for a long time in my painting company. And I started that business officially back in the year 2000. And we had a bookkeeper from the year 2000 on, but it was years and years before I began to ask her for a profit and loss statement every month. And then I went through seasons where I didn't want to look at them. I looked at them. I didn't want to look at them. I looked at them. In the middle of raising a lot of small kids, the profit and loss would be one of those things that I'd kind of look at and I would just like want to glaze over a little bit because it's like a whole bunch of numbers on a report. And I'm thinking, gag, gag, gag as a creative. But the truth is you have to get comfortable and familiar with looking at those things. It's super eye-opening because the truth is you can be making a ton of money. But the truth is, how much of it are you actually keeping? And by the way, when you hear, influencers, content creators, course creators, whatever, talking about the amount of money that they're making, they're always talking top number. Okay. They're never telling you that they've got, 100K in expenses every month, or that they're paying 50% affiliate commissions to people promoting the course. Like they leave those numbers out. It's really about how much are you actually keeping? And it's really a difficult number, like to try to figure out, well, what's like average? If you have a product business, I think that's easier to figure out on average. What's the profit margin on a business that does that? It's a little bit more difficult to really figure out a profit margin on a business that is like thought leaders, content creators, coaches, consultants, etc. It's much more difficult to figure out that number. So I asked ChatGPT where all good information is at, right? And ChatGPT said the same thing. Basically, it said, this is it's a loosey-goosey type of number to really try to figure out. But it said that the realistic median range is that somewhere between 20% and 50% of the top line revenue is what online business people are keeping. Okay. Do you realize what a huge range that is? Because let's say that you are a woman who just had her first $100,000 year. Okay. Well, if your profit margin is 20%, you literally made 20K after expenses, after paying taxes, after paying, for your softwares, after paying for your apps, you made 20%, you made 20K. So then the top side of that was 50%. There's a huge difference between you kept 20K that year and you kept 50K that year. I mean, that is a huge difference. It's a huge swing. And so you've got to get familiar with your numbers. And if talking about numbers, like if this is boring you to tears, like, look, I get it. I don't like talking numbers either. But the truth is, I really like having money left over every month and I like spending it. Okay. And so we can probably be in agreement about that, right? And so you have to get familiar with your numbers and you have to start really treating those numbers as a tool that can really help you to make decisions in your business. And if it is uncomfortable for you to look at your numbers, for you to look at a P&L, if it's uncomfortable for you to look at your expenses, to look at your profit margin, I need for you to really figure out why. It's usually not just I don't know what the numbers mean or I don't know how. Like that's usually honestly not it. More than likely, you don't want to look at the numbers because it's more about what like the numbers represent, both emotionally, spiritually, or at a practical level. Okay. So in coaching as many women as I have in the last 10 plus years, here's some things that I know. Women will avoid looking at their numbers in their business when they suspect that their business isn't making as much money as what they want it to, or when they even like know in their knower that their business is actually losing money every month. They don't want to confirm their suspicion. So they'll literally blatantly disregard numbers. Sometimes I think numbers feel like judgment and avoiding looking at them feels like safer almost than facing like the possibility of failure in your business. I think there's a lot of women that tie their self-worth onto the dollar signs, onto the amount of money that their business is or is not making. And so looking at revenue, looking at profit margin can really almost trigger like feelings of not being good enough. There are women who grew up in homes where money and the topic of money and the conversations around money was a source of a lot of conflict or secrecy or lack. Therefore, talking about numbers feels really unsafe. This one lands just a little bit for me because I can remember growing up, my parents would pay bills together at the kitchen table every Sunday. And let me just tell you that that hour or two while they were sitting at the table, writing out old-fashioned checks and whatever, it was pretty stinking tense in our house. There would be raised voices. There would be, you kids go downstairs and play. And it just, it was not comfortable. And so therefore, I have really had to fight the urge to think that looking at numbers is not comfortable. There's been seasons where I've thought to myself, I'm just going to make more. Like I'm just going to disregard anything on a P&L or any other thing that I get from our tax person or bookkeeper. I'll just make more. And then, and instead of really looking at where is everything going out as well. I do think that there are some women, especially in church spaces, that may think that, like, well, good Christians don't focus on money. And so they avoid looking any deeper into what their business is actually doing. I know there's some women who they know if they look at their numbers, the reality is going to tell them they really need to cut back. They really need to stop doing the things that they're currently doing, get out of the group that you're in, stop paying for all those different meta verifications, et cetera. And so just not looking is better than having to stop kind of what you're doing. Um, it's easier emotionally a lot of times to just stay in the dark than it is to confront the fact that you're not really very pleased with where things are at and that things really have to change. And by the way, this happens to me every couple of years when it comes to like getting on the scale. I mean, that's how I know that I'm doing well in my eating when I'm willing to get on a scale. When I'm off the rails, I just avoid the scale. And I think the same thing happens sometimes with spending and things in our business. We avoid the numbers when we know they're probably not what they should be. We often tell ourselves like, we'll look at numbers when we get more organized or when the business gets a little bigger, then I'll get more serious about really figuring out what things mean. But there's often a pattern then where that never actually happens. You never actually face the reality of the numbers. I do think too that there are some women that worry that if they really begin to look at their profit, their revenue, their profit margin, if they really start to look at those numbers, it's really not going to measure up to what they see other people posting about online. And again, I guarantee you 100% of the time when people are talking about the money they made launching a course or whatever, they're always talking about the top line number. They are never talking about the number after expenses. And so you just like lay that comparison down, okay? Totally lay it down. So again, it's not about the math and the numbers really. It's more about what those numbers represent to people. And so, on the last episode, I talked about stewardship and I talked about stewardship in terms of like visibility online, but also stewardship of the business that God gave you. It really includes, being aware of your finances and being aware of what's going out and what's coming in and being aware of what you're keeping every month. And you really cannot multiply and God can multiply what is not measured. And so here's what I want to leave you with after this episode. My marching orders for you are this. If you don't have a bookkeeper for your business, get a bookkeeper for your business suite. Literally go to Facebook and say, hey guys, I really need to get a bookkeeper. You can tell people my coach told me I need a bookkeeper. Who do you know? Okay. Find somebody that is a referral, find somebody at your church, etc. Okay. Make sure then that you're getting a P&L. If you already have a bookkeeper, are you getting a profit and loss statement every month? And are you actually looking at it every month? Because there would be times when I'd get it every month and I would just go ahead and not even glance at it. I'm busy, I've got other things to do, etc. But I want you to actually look at it. And the other thing is, I want you to ask God to show you what sort of things financially need to change in your business. Where do you need to tighten up some things? Where do you need to raise your rates? Where do you need to be putting things back? How can you multiply numbers, et cetera? I'm telling you, God is the best accountant there is. He's also the best financial advisor. And so inquire of the Lord. Lord, show me what I need to be doing differently. Show me how to get this business profitable. Lord, help me to feel differently about this. Lord, show me why I feel negatively about, my profit for the month or whatever. All of that is time and work that is definitely going to come back to you in some shape or form in a really positive way. So spend some time doing that this week. And if you want more conversation about money and how it relates to business, et cetera, I want you to go sign up for my Money, Faith, and Momentum virtual summit. It is on October the 8th. We are going to have an all day long virtual event. I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about tracking numbers, setting financial goals, both to finish out 2025 and 2026. And building a business that will fund generosity and growth. So if you go to jenniferallwood.com/virtual event, you can find how to sign up there. So I hope I will see you there, my friends. We're going to have another podcast coming out tomorrow. So make sure that you listen to that one. And after you're done listening here, go to jenniferallwood.com/virtual event. I will see you there. All right, friend. Talk soon. Bye-bye.